good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome back to the broadcast show here at BVE 2014. If you want to keep in touch with us, and you have been, at Broadcast Show is where to follow us on Twitter with the hashtag BVE14. If you'd like us to look at something specific here at the show that we've not covered yet, we can send John out to any stand or booth that you like here at the show. Just email us live@broadcastshow.com. Your wish is our command. Now, we've got a great 20 minutes, half hour lined up now in conversation with this gentleman here to my right, Mr. Larry Jordan. Welcome to the Broadcast Show, sir.
Ben, you're very kind. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. We had a quick chat this morning.
We did, and I'm surprised you invited me back.
Not at all. We only touched the surface of things that we could discuss. But for those who didn't see the show this morning,
it was brilliant.
It was fantastic.
I thought the moment when you broke down and cried touched millions of hearts.
It's practice, years and years of practice, and pain, I may add. Yes, and pain. So for those of you that don't know you, tell us about Larry Jordan. You don't have to do it in the third person, but tell us a little bit about where you started and where you come to now with the training.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, your turn.
Yeah,
you go.
I'm just waiting for the gestures
I
to
just
stop.
did that one. Yeah, I just touch you. Your turn. You're it.
Years before you were born.
That's very kind of you to say so. I doubt it, but yes.
Years before you were born, I got my start in broadcast television. I was a producer director, and my specialty was live. There's something about live television that's just magical, because as you know, when you open your mouth, millions of people are watching.
And then it can't be changed.
Some of them, yes, you are stuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, I worked in very, very small stations in the States, all the way up to PBS, and did work for the ABC network. And I was a producer director. And there's something about saying fade up in a remote truck and 5 million people are watching that just sort of adds a new level of anxiety to your life. I loved it. It was great. It lasted for about 20 years, and then I shifted out of that into software marketing and software development, worked in the computer side of the industry for about 20 years. And then I got involved with a multi-billion-dollar multinational corporation, which is based in Paris, and I traveled the world doing video recording for them. It lasted for 5 years. They laid me off the month before I became vested in a pension. I'm sure it was coincidental.
Of course.
And I went home to my wife and I said, "Wife, congratulations, you've got me for both lunch and dinner." And she drew herself up to her full 5'6" wifely height. And she looked down her wifely nose and she said, "I did not marry you for lunch." So I had to get a job. And not being employable because I was older than the age of 15, I decided to start my own company. So I started one, which lasted for a couple of years. And then in about 2003, I started the company I do now, which is Larry Jordan, Inc., and we focus on training. And I realized that the industry is changing so quickly, and so many people are scrambling to keep up with their skills that editors who are fully employable are losing work because they don't have the latest skills. So I decided what I can do is I can help editors get the skills they need to find clients, keep clients happy, and pay the bills. That's what I do.
So the main thing with that is the website larryjordan.biz.
larryjordan.biz, all one word. Do you know somebody owns larryjordan.com? And they won't sell it to me because they said it's such a famous name you need to pay more? It's my name! What's going on here? Anyway, I can't get
Larry Jordan as well? Is it a complete coincidence they just got there before you? I don't know. LarryJordan.co.uk for when you're here in the UK could be a good one as well.
That was my next choice. I knew it should have been LarryJordan.co.uk. I'll put it in. Yes, I'll tell Ben sent me, and I'm here to get that.
Yes,
that
please. But then you're covered globally with .biz. So that's the portal for most of the stuff that you do and for the training base, yes?
It is. I have 3 websites that I run. There's LarryJordan.biz, which focuses on training on Adobe and Apple products. I have Digital Production Buzz, which is the second oldest podcast in the world. The oldest is All Things Digital. We're number 2. And we focus on digital production, post-production, and distribution, but we're an audio podcast. So unlike being surrounded by the 75 crew people that you've got here and the tractor trailers of equipment behind, we are an audio podcast that goes around the world finding out what's happening in the industry. We've been on every week for the last 11 years. It's Thursday night, 6 o'clock at LA time, and it's designed to help independent filmmakers to improve their skills, know what equipment they need to buy, know how other independent filmmakers are creating their films, distributing it, making money with it. And then the third one, which I can't tell anybody about.
Okay, just whisper it. Tell me quietly.
It's called tworealguys.com. That's the number 2, REELGUYS. It's co-hosted by me and Norman Holland.
See what you've done there with the real,
Two real guys. And what we do, it's film school in a box. And it's everything you need to know about filmmaking, except we never talk technology. How do you stage a fight scene? How do you work with a costume designer? How do you dance? How do you work with dancers? Well, these are things that a producer, a director needs to know, but we don't talk about what camera to use. We don't talk about what microphones to pick. It's all designed to help people understand the craft of producing and the craft of directing and the craft of editing, because unless you go to film school, you just are self-taught. And as soon as you're self-taught, you're limited by what you yourself know. We can help. They're 8-minute pieces of video, which are just so cool. Norman and I have zero camera ability at all, and so we get on there and we just like a bunch of doofuses, but we got great content, and it's a wonderful, and it's 2realguys.com.
You need to get now 2realdoofuses.com to go with it as well.
We tried doofuses, but it was already taken by somebody somebody in England named Ben. So the 2realguys.com website is designed to help people improve the craft. LarryJordan.biz is training in Adobe and Apple products, very technical. So if you want to know exactly what button to push, we'll teach you exactly what button, why to push it, and how to push it. And then Digital Production Buzz is what's happening in industry and how do you plan for the future.
So I know from because I've seen some of your stuff, I've seen your seminars here at BVE, I've watched some of the stuff online. The thing for me is you, with the Real 2 Guys, is a great example. For me, you remove quite a lot of the jargon from it, or you simplify the jargon. Is that the starting point for you, both on the 2 Real Guys, and does that come across into the LarryJordan.biz as well?
What happens in our industry is people like to think they're part of the high priesthood. And the way that you remain part of the high priesthood is you have to know the language that nobody else understands.
Keep it secret.
Keep the secret. And the problem is that's an impossible way to get products to be successful or to get people to be able to use the product. If everybody using your product feels they're too stupid to understand how it works, they're not going to stay with it very long. What I try to do is I try to explain really complex technical subjects in analogies and in stories. So once you understand it and that light bulb goes on, then you understand how to get deep into the technical and not get lost. But if you're trying to figure out where the magic door is to unlock to get in, if you can't even find the door, then you're locked out. That bothers me. So I spend a lot of my time coming up with training and demos, and that's story related or analogy related, or it's designed to help explain really, really technical subjects in ways that are close enough to accurate that the understanding flows, and then we can make it really accurate once you get inside and understand how the technology works. And
do you think that helps for the professionals that are out there that are coming to you for new releases, say, of the Adobe products or of Final Cut and stuff? That I think that removing that jargon helps them as well, even though they're kind of a little, 1 foot in with the camp of the secret and keeping that language.
Well, what really happens is people want to feel they learn from somebody they relate to. They want to learn from somebody that's been there and done that. And they want to learn from somebody that's not afraid to make a mistake. I hate making mistakes. I hate it. But I can't avoid it. And so I have 2 choices. I can make everything I do perfect, or every so often I can admit, guys, I screwed up, and here's how I screwed up, and here's how I made the mistake, and here's what I learned from it. And it humanizes it, and it makes people feel, hey, if he can screw up and survive, I can screw up and survive. And what that does is it takes the fear of making a mistake away, and it allows people to, well, let me experiment. What happens if I tweak this? What's the worst that could happen? Most of the time, the worst that could happen is, oh, I got to undo that, don't I? As opposed to, I just destroyed Cleveland. Most of the time, it's an undo. So I can help there. The biggest obstacle we have to dealing with any new technology is fear. It's not the technology, it's afraid that we're not smart enough to use the technology.
I think the other thing as well is sharing those mistakes as well. Because if you are brave enough to share those mistakes with other people, then...
Or dumb enough.
Yeah, or dumb enough, whichever way you want to look at it. But it helps out, and it's part of the education, it's part of the learning process, because you go, hey guys, I did this, whatever you do, don't do it, because by the way, I've just saved you 3 hours.
Yep.
Which I know is things that have happened if it's been done by accident, or if you've tried to destroy something on purpose, which I guess you do within your training.
I don't try to destroy something, but...
I don't mean as, but you know...
Here's my question.
Okay.
You've just been handed a new piece of software.
Yes.
Okay. What makes you the most frustrated?
That I don't know how to use it straight away.
Not only that, what makes you even more frustrated than that? It's more specific.
I've given you the wrong answer.
Right, you're exactly correct. You don't even know how to get started with the software. You'll spend hours researching an effect, but how do I open the file? Where am I supposed to store the media? How do I save my file? It's the basics. We can't even get through the front door.
I know, and I work with avid editors who, and as a producer, I've set up the project. I've already done all the media for them in the background because the bit I worked out is if I learn how to use that and set the whole thing up, then they come in and do it. I've got editors that know how to do it, but I've got skilled craft editors who don't know how to set that up, which I find kind of weird in this day and age of sort of the all-in-one box. They're still used to working in a professional facility where someone does all that for them.
And what that does is it means that if they get laid off or they're off on their own, they're stuck because they don't know how to get started. The biggest challenge that we have with any of our software is how do we manage media? How do we create the file? How do we make sure we created the right type of file? Mm-hmm. Look at all the options at setup that we're dealing with in any kind of creative environment. You get one of those things wrong and kerflooey, it blows up. So one of the things I've learned is people will spend their life researching the best possible effect on the web, but they won't spend any time understanding media management because they don't even know what questions to ask. So what I try to do is to concentrate on this is what you need to know to get started. This is what you need to know to avoid mistakes. This is the foundation upon which everything else is based. And then we build that as a series of steps until finally people say, oh, now I can. And then they're off flying. And they never look back because they're secure in their understanding of how the foundation of the application works. That's where I'm really good, is to be able to explain the foundations so then you can then build your own creativity on top of it.
And that's it. So you go off in a way, the craft of editing is interchangeable at a certain level between all those different editors, but it's the foundations, building the blocks.
Yep.
With those editors, we talked about Adobe and Final Cut, but Avid's not on your list. Oh, have I touched a nerve?
I checked.
Okay.
And there's 24 hours in a day, and there's only 7 days in a week. Do you know how long it takes to stay current in all the Adobe applications and all the Apple applications? I can't even have the time. I don't even have the time to spell Avid, much less learn Avid. Avid is a wonderful program. It's a great company, but there just isn't enough time to keep up with everything that's out there. So I would much rather be extremely knowledgeable and be able to be helpful with a few products, 20, than every product that's out there and be so superficially glib that I can't answer a question like, where do I store my files? So it is with great reluctance that I've had to say, because Avid has asked me to do training on their stuff, but there just isn't enough time in the day to get it all done. So I had to let that one slide for a while. Okay,
well, you've got two big games there anyway, haven't you, with Final Cut and with Adobe Premiere. We were talking a little bit before, while we were getting set up here, about how important you think it is for people's training to come to events like this. I know you have a big presence at NAB, which we can talk about because that's not far away now, is it? But why are you? Yeah, you didn't want reminding that, did you? You want to get this show over with
floating
first.
About 5 feet off the ground right now in stress. So yes, I'm reminded.
Let's say, why are you here at BVE, and why should people come to these shows?
Are you sitting down?
I'm sitting comfortably, yes. Yeah, I am
this
now.
Set, comfortable is a relative term.
Yeah.
But this is my 6th year
Really?
speaking at BVE. 6 years. Can you believe that? I thought it was like 4. They go quickly. Training has to happen in a number of different ways. There's a reason to have classroom-based training because it makes it affordable and it personalizes it. There's a reason to have one-on-one consulting when you've got really, really difficult, knotty problems, especially workflow issues of how you get it fixed that's specific to you. But what a trade show provides, which you can't get anywhere else, not on the web, nothing, is the ability to come and ask experts how the gear works. And that face-to-face ability to walk up to somebody that works for the manufacturer, that's knowledgeable enough to be able to cover the booth at a trade show, and ask them a detailed technical question, is there's nothing like it. And for me, I love trade shows because I can walk up to a vendor and I can say, A, I've got real problems with your product, help me figure it out. And I'm not talking to a first-tier support person, I'm talking to the VP of development who instantly gets defensive and says, all right, we got to fix it. And the second thing is I can talk to an engineer about the bits and bytes of how the particular program works and know that the person that I'm talking to wrote the software or works so intensively with the software that nobody knows it better than they do. To get those kind of in-depth questions answered can only happen at a trade show, which is why I love these, because it's like every answer to every question I could think of asking is available. I just have to walk up and ask it.
It amazes me sometimes that I have friends who work in this industry say, oh, I'm going to BVE next week. Do you know what? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, maybe I might go. But it's, even if you come away from the show having done that, spoken to one vendor, to one guy at Adobe or one guy at Canon or Atomos, wherever it is, they could answer you something that you just get the answer quicker and from the horse's mouth, isn't it?
Yeah. I had a problem with SpeedGrade. I could not use Adobe SpeedGrade. And so as I was dashing through the floor, I happened to find myself next to the Adobe booth. I stopped, I said, who's the SpeedGrade expert? They said, that guy. I asked him one question, he unlocked the thing that prevented me from using SpeedGrade. In 20 seconds, I went on and was able to do a demo of it.
And these guys and girls, that's what they're here for. They want to give you that information.
Because otherwise they're bored to death. But the reason a company exhibits is they want to have a one-on-one relationship with their customers. And that's what good training is all about, is you want to have a one-on-one relationship with your customer, with your student, with your vendor, so that you feel that both of you are learning in that exchange. And that's what I love about training. One of the interesting things I've discovered over the last 6 years, when the economy cratered 5 years ago and nobody had any money and things were pretty bleak, that instantly killed the seminar business. The internet totally replaced it. People will come to trade shows, but they're not coming to seminars anymore. They need to come to event-based programs. They don't come to training programs. So we came up with a different form of training, which is web-based. And I spent a year recording really in-depth training on Final Cut 10 and Premiere CS6 and Adobe Audition and Apple Compressor. And what we're finding is that people really enjoy watching video-based training, which is good, because otherwise I'd be out of work. But the training is in short bites. It's easily digestible. You can watch it time after time after time after you get it, and you're watching me work the software and explain to you how it works. And for me, it means that I can invest more time and resources into putting the training together, because I only have to invest it once until the software gets updated. So you get higher quality training than you'd get in a classroom, because I've got the time to make sure that it's right and we cover every element of that subject. And from your point of view, you're getting it in short enough doses that you aren't feeling like you've got to commit 8 hours of your life. You commit maybe a half hour to watching 1 or 2 movies. And again, it's that building block process.
Yeah.
The more firm the foundation, the higher you can take it. And we work at sharing both the technical and the craft side of editing in all of our online training. And I've been really, really gratified, impressed that people have adopted it as quickly and as enthusiastically as they have.
Excellent. So I need to let you go shortly. So just a little taste of what people can expect from NAB, or is that all a little bit secret? I know you there. You have a booth there this
We have
year?
been going to NAB, I think it's 6 years, maybe 7. We are the official podcast of NAB, and we are traveling there in a 20 by 20 foot booth, 6 by 6, 7 by 7 meters. See how quick I did that?
Hey, you learned meters from just this morning. It was all feet this morning.
And
Wowza.
so we do 7 half-hour live shows direct from our booth on the trade show floor, plus 8 one-hour evening recaps. We do 105 interviews over 3.5 days, and we stitch it all together. And by the time you're done, you've got every major vendor in our industry giving you the latest news. It's a broadcast radio station, and this year, for the first time, we're adding video in partnership with Moviola, so that we've got audio and video coverage of the leaders in our industry, all coming out of NAB at digitalproductionbuzz.com. It is sweet.
Looking forward to seeing some of that and hearing some of that. Larry, I could sit here and talk to you for ages, but we have got to let you
Can
run
we
away.
talk about my website?
Let's remind people of your web address, please, sir.
It's Larry Jordan, Jordan.biz, JORDAN.biz. And when you go, there's over 1,000 technical articles, and they're all free. There's tons of free stuff, and there's a bad joke on the homepage every day that's new. You got to tune in to look at it. LarryJordan.biz. I'd love to have you check it out.
Superb. Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us, Larry.
My pleasure.
If you would like to get to LarryJordan.biz, make sure you sign up for Larry's newsletter as well. Loads of information on there. Plenty of stuff to use. If you're in the post-production and you want to get into stuff or you want to learn stuff, improve your education training, it's the place to go. LarryJordan.biz. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Very good indeed. Stick with us. There are more shows coming here. We're on day 2 here at the Broadcast Show. We'd love to hear from you. Send us an email live at broadcastshow.com. You can tweet us at Broadcast Show with the hashtag BVE14. We'll see you a little bit later.